Hello internets, this is BoneCarlos hanging out with Superman to bring you another vlog type thing. Before we get started, as always, my giveaway is still underway. Questions going to appear randomly throughout this video. Guess it correctly, be the first one to guess it correctly. You get a point. 2 points earns you a prize. Hunky dory. Everything's down in the description down below. Also, if you guys want me to talk about anything at all, be asinine or very thought-provoking, leave a comment down below and I'll be more than happy to take care of it for you guys. This week's topic, oh actually, you know what, before we get started, I was driving to work and I happened upon an AT&T commercial, and the gist of it was, the AT&T commercial was like talking, you know how there's like the AT&T or the spokesperson for the person talking to a regular Joe Schmo, right? Well, this one, shut up kitty, no, go away. You were quiet all day and now I start talking and then you want to come over and yell at me? Go away. Anyways, the spokesperson for AT&T was commenting on, oh my gosh, you sound so peaceful, enjoying your mochaccino, reading your books. How do you manage that? And then the woman responds, well, my phone has 4G networks, and I could go and then and that allows my child to download and view and stream the movie that he's watched for 300 times already, and that allows me to just rest and relax. And this really hit a bad spot for me, because you guys know there are bad parents out there. There are people that should no way in any shape or form have a child, and I think that this commercial kind of caters to that. Like, you need to plop down your child in front of something to give yourself a break. And I understand that being a parent isn't easy. Being a parent is difficult. There are sometimes where you just want to rip your hair out and just sleep and just get away from it all. And I understand that. But you know what? Tough titties, people. You have a child. You have a child. You have to take care of this kid. This is your thing. You have to raise them to be smart, to be just have to raise them properly so they can be a productive member of society. Or else we have these douchebag kids that don't know any better, because guess what? They were raised by television, by electronics. And it just irked me the wrong way, because how did nobody in AT&T think about this? Just whatsoever? I mean, come on. Come on, I'm gonna plot my kid in front of a freaking phone, which is the size of laptops nowadays, but that's another point, and let him watch the movie again for the 300th time, which, by the way, I know that's an exaggeration, but still, at that point, come on, your kid's watching a little bit too much TV. Put down your Frappuccino, put down your book, parent them, teach them something. If they're old enough, teach them to clean. If they are old enough, teach them to, I don't know, do something around the house. Change some oil. Yeah, I know, a 5-year-old learning how to change oil, kind of crazy, but not really. Not really, in my opinion. Or maybe something fundamental like reading, I don't know, arithmetic, stuff like that. Ah, now you know what? Forget that. That's too much work. I'm just gonna go ahead and put him down in front of a I went on a rant, didn't I? Interesting. Anyways, yeah, that was my fault. I intended that to only be a 20-second blurb. Anyways, alright, well, I don't want to go into anything more serious, so I'm going to tell you guys a little bit story, and this has popped up in my head a couple times over the past month or so. And back in the day, I used to be a store manager for a clothing store, clothing/shoe store, kind of, you know, like Sheiks. If you guys don't have it, Doomits, I don't know what they call it across the country. Sort of like a Foot Locker where they have sports clothing as well as sports shoes, but this is more of an urban hip-hop kind of thing. Anyways, that's how it goes. So, for some reason, that store was always normal. Nothing crazy happened with customers up until I hired this one guy. Now, I'm going to go ahead and call him Johnny, just for the hell of it. His name's not Johnny, so don't try to look him up for some reason. But I'm not saying that he brought the problems onto the store or onto himself. They just happened to find him. Case in point, there was this couple, middle-aged couple, late 30s, early 40s, no big deal, nothing too crazy. He goes over and starts helping them, converse them, you know, engage them in any sort of typical conversation, try to sell them some shoes, no big deal. Now, mind you, they look like a normal couple. Dude's in glasses, a polo, some shorts, the lady's in some sort of tank top with a skirt, no big deal. So he helps them on the other side of the store, and there's chairs just aligned all throughout the store. So he helps them on the other side of the store, and I'm over here on the other side, obviously, so opposite side of the store. And the store is not that big. It was maybe about 1,800 square feet at most. And the central area is just nice and wide open and everything, so you could look across the store. So anyways, I'm over here just just minding my own business, watching him, making sure he's doing everything correctly, and he does everything correctly, which is great. So he comes out and with his shoes, the ones that she asked you, and a couple of extra ones, just, you know, customer service. Go figure, right? So he kneels down in front of her, and this is just mistake number one. I always instruct all my people to, like, listen, if a woman's wearing a skirt, don't kneel down in front of her. You know, it's just bad juju. Go to the side. Just, you know, just a little heads up kind of thing. And I look over and I'm like, ah, damn it, I guess I gotta talk to him about that a little bit later. But anyways, she didn't seem to mind. She started, you know, doing the whole thing and doing this, doing that, asking for different sizes. And then out of quarter of my periph, and all gamers know you have to have a very immensely powerful peripheral vision, I noticed that she's not sitting how a woman usually sits in a skirt. And either, you know, leg close to the side a little bit, or crossing the legs, or doing something. She's kind of just sitting there, not splayed out like a dude does when he's watching TV or anything, but somewhere in between. So she's sitting up normally, but her legs are a little bit open, just a little bit. And I noticed as I said on my peripheral vision, I'm like, that's just kind of a weird way to sit, lady. But that's not my thing. That's not, I don't have to deal with that. So anyways, he's helping him out. You know, a couple more minutes pass, and then I kind of glance over because my co-manager calls me over to ask a question. And as my eyes are sweeping the room, you guys gamers sweep the room, make sure everything's normal. In my first split second, I look over, I'm just like, yeah, she's giving everyone a full view that's in front of that entire thing. And the next split second, and mind you, I didn't stop and stare, I just kept going. In the next split second, I noticed she's not wearing any underwear. And in the third split second, I thought, yep, that's a vagina. So anyways, I just keep walking, and I kind of stumbled just a little bit. I'm just like, I wanted to look back, but I don't, because that's bad. You don't want to do that. So anyways, I walk back there. I walk over to my co-manager. She's showing me some paperwork and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, hey, I'm like, what? Very casually walk to the front of the store and glance over to this woman. See if you spot anything different. So she does that. She does her little circuit. She comes back. She asks the woman, it's like, hey, everything's being okay. She's like, yeah, you know, this guy's helping me. No big deal. Johnny's helping me out. Everything's great. She comes back, and she's pretty, I could tell by her face that she's pretty flushed, because she obviously caught a view of vagina. And anyways, so we're over here, we go into the back, and we start just kind of giggling to ourselves, like, eee, vaginas. Right? So, anyways, Johnny helps him out, finishes off the sale. They end up buying quite a bit of stuff, and he sells everything, and he's, you know, and he's just, after they leave, he's just like, yes, blah, 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 blah. And I watched them leaving, and they're just, the couple is just grinning from ear to ear, just happy as can be. As soon as they walk out, he turns to me, and Johnny is dark. He was Mexican. Okay, so he wasn't a light-skinned Mexican, but he was so red, it was ridiculous. It was I don't want to say it wasn't like something crazy like cherry red or strawberry red, but it was beyond a red that a dark-skinned person should get, and it was funny. And he was a younger kid too, and I'm like, hey John, yeah, first view of vagina? No, it's all right, man, it's all right. There are good ones and there are bad ones, but either way, you saw vagina. He's like, can I take my break now? Yeah, sure, dude. Go take your break. You deserve it. And anyways, he leaves the store, and we all had a great chuckle, great laugh. Now, I got tons of stories about Johnny, but that was probably my #1 favorite story. The second one would be, it's like I'm coming back from break, and I see these two dudes come out. First thing I noticed is that they're carrying large bags. Now, we have small, medium, and large bags. Large bags are things for like boots, or they buy huge amounts of merchandise, so the large bags. And there's two dudes come out, and each of them is carrying 2 of the large bags, and I'm like, fantastic, that's at least a $500 sale. Turns out it was like 900 and something, right? So anyways, I walk in, and I'm like, and I over here talk to my co-manager, and I'm like, hey man, who had that sale? That must have been like at least 500. And she's like, well, it was Johnny. He's like, and it was like 900 and something. I'm like, what? And I'm like, wait a minute. And I asked, like, wait a minute, what do they pay with? It's like, oh, it was a debit card and cash. And I'm like, check ID, make sure everything was legit, everything's okay, right? And she's like, yeah, no, I was there. He double-checked everything. Everything was fine. Everything was fantastic. And I'm like, bam, that's great. So I went over here, I go over and I start checking the transaction. I notice what they buy, just, you know, for future reference and whatnot. And then Johnny comes out of the back room after putting away. She's like, "Dude, Carlos, check out, man, I sold it." And I was like, "Dude, I know, it was huge, it was awesome, fantastic." And he's like, "Yeah." And then he just slows down a little bit. I'm like, "What's wrong, dude?" I'm like, "I don't know. It's just kind of weird. They paid with $300 in $1 bills." And I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, I have a lot of change in my register." I'm like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah." And I looked over, and sure enough, like $275 worth of $1 bills. The only reason I know is because my co-manager told him to bundle them up into 20s, and I just kind of poked through them. I'm like, "All right, well, whatever." And then I'm like, "Wait a minute." I thought about what these guys looked like, and these guys were wearing these like tight jeans with like nice shoes. I mean, everything about them was nice. But that was the problem. Everything was too nice. They were nicely groomed. They were nice and buff. And then they had the top of their shirts revealing chesticles. And everything was great for them. And I'm thinking, wait a minute. Wait a minute. Upon closer inspection of my memories, they were wearing body glitter. Like, nice and rubbed up. And I'm like... And I start piecing the things together, and I'm just like, these guys were strippers. Who else would pay with $300 worth of stuff? Either that or prostitutes. But then again, if you're going to be a prostitute, take bigger bills. Come on now. $1 bills? No. Anyway, so I tell this to my co-manager, and she's just like, "No." And I'm like, "Yeah, think about it." And she's like, "Yes." And I'm like, "Mm-hmm." Like, "Hey, Johnny." He's like, "What's up, dude? What's up?" All happy and content. And I kind of didn't want to break it, but I'm just thinking, so, those guys were pretty clean cut, right? And he goes, "Yeah, that was kind of weird. They looked like they were just coming back from a club or something, or maybe going out clubbing." I'm like, "Or work at a club?" And he's like, "Maybe, but I guess, I don't know. Why? Why are you saying?" "Well, think about it. They might work at a club. They paid in almost $300 worth of dollar bills. What do you think happened?" And he's just sitting there just like, I don't know. He wasn't exactly that intelligent, but he was a good guy. I like that guy. And he's like, "I don't know." And I'm just like, "Dude, they were strippers." And he's just like, and he just freezes up. And he's like, "Can I go on break?" I'm like, "Yeah, Johnny, go on break." It was, oh man, poor guy. And there are other stories about this guy involving gay dudes. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but they seem to be attracted to that guy for some reason. Stories about nip slips, and it was just fantastic. But yeah, so anyways, that's it for me. I hope you guys enjoyed these stories. If not, leave comments down below on what I could do to make them more enjoyable for you. Also, yeah, everything, all that other fantastic stuff. I gotta go because of what? There's 64 of you? That's garbage, man. No one's ever gonna like that. Anyways, later, guys.